I was feeling really groovy and I decided to create this faux fur hooded jacket, and it's actually unisex. Come on with me and I'm going to show you how I did it. And I'm like, come on through, Cookie. I want to put my soapbox. That's basically it. Let's talk about drag and all its forms. What, Cookie? Hey guys, thanks again for clicking on the video. As I said before, I am going to show you how I created my faux fur hooded jacket, and it's definitely unisex, so anybody can try it. It's good for the ladies and for the guys. So let's have some fun. Okay guys, first things first, we are going to go ahead and we're going to make our pattern. We're going to use this. I chose this really big sweatshirt. This is my favorite sweatshirt. It's really big. It fits really big on me, and it will be perfect to go ahead and make a jacket because of the fit. I'll have no fitting problems. So we're going to start with this sweatshirt, and it's going to end up being your actual bomber jacket. Let's go ahead and get started. Our sleeve pattern is what's going to be first. Now, you're going to get a full sheet of paper, and then I'm going to have you to take that sheet of paper and fold it in half. Just like so. We're going to fold this sucker in half, and then when we're done, we're going to end up with one full pattern piece. It's going to be really slick. Okay, take your sleeve of your shirt, and we're going to trace it right onto there, onto the fold. Put the seam down, and the fold, the top part of the sleeve is going to be where the fold of the paper is, and we're going to trace all the way around. Now when you're doing your pattern, you want to make sure you're always remembering that you're going to put a 5/8 inch extra on your pattern pieces after you trace them, and then cut them out. That 5/8 inches where it's actually already sewn, so you have to add the seam allowance back. When you unfold, you see you have your whole sleeve. Let's move on to the hood. Same thing. Your hood, you're going to actually have it folded in half. You're going to start on the edge of the paper, and then you're going to make sure you got your hood good and flattened out, and then we're going to go right in just as we did with the sleeve, and you're going to trace around your hood. And remember, 5/8 of an inch seam allowance has to be added back to your hood where you're going to actually be sewing. Take your time, make sure you get those corners good and that neckline. All right, very simple, very simple. So that's two of your pieces just about down. Add your seam allowance back, and then we're going to cut that sucker out. Yeah, and it really depends on how you want your hood to lay, how tight, because you could actually make your hood a little smaller if you want. I kind of like the hood exactly as it is, so that's what I did. I just followed what was actually there. All right, there's your hood piece. Moving on to the front of your jacket. Okay, now you're going to get it all flattened out. Same thing, same process. Start at the edge of the paper, trace all the way around, because you're going to actually add an inch. You're going to start at an inch back because you want to have room, because you're going to add a zipper there. So you're going to do an inch on the paper, lay your pattern, which is actually your sweatshirt, down, then start tracing. And same thing, pull the sleeve back towards you and just follow the outline where the seam is, where it was actually sewn in at. And don't forget to add your 5/8 inches around everywhere else on that piece. Let's move on to the back. Process is pretty much the same on the back. Only difference is you're going to start right at the edge of the paper and don't add anything, because it's actually going to be laid on the fold when you cut it out. Okay, and just go ahead and trace around it. And make sure you add your 5/8 inch seam allowance back to it. Pull your sleeves back, trace the armhole. Same process, very simple. At this point, you're just about done. You cut that sucker out. You've got it there. You got your back, your front, your sleeve, and your hood. You are done with your pattern. Now you're going to actually move on to cutting the pattern out in your fabric and in your lining. Okay, guys, now that we've got your pattern all done, let's go ahead and cut it out. You're going to need a good pair of shears. You're going to need a measuring tape, pins, and you need a separating zipper matching the color of your fabric you choose. 3 yards of fabric, 3 yards of lining. Batting is optional depending on how heavy you want your jacket. You need matching thread, elastic, and a 1/2 yard of fusible interfacing. Let's go to your outer fabric and cut it out first. First things first, you're going to go ahead and get your pattern pieces and you're going to begin to pin them onto your fabric. Don't worry about if this takes you a little bit of time, because remember here, the accuracy of your pinning and your cutting is going to determine the level of difficulty you're going to have while you're sewing. So pin your pieces down, take your time, and cut them all out. And then you'll actually have all of that done. After you're done with that main fabric, let's move on to your lining. You're going to repeat those very steps on your lining. And then once you're done with the lining, those of you who have chosen to use the batting to make your jacket heavier, you're going to repeat those exact same steps on your batting. And that's definitely going to take you some time because it's very thick and it's kind of cumbersome, but that's okay. Take your time and go ahead and get it all pinned down, cut it out, and when you're done with that, guess what? That's it. We're ready to move on and go ahead and sew this bad boy together, and let's go. Okay, we're ready to go. First things first, let's install our zipper. You have your 2 front pieces. You're going to take one of them. Remember, you have an inch seam allowance that you've actually added there. You're going to go ahead right to the 1-inch mark. You're going to lay your zipper facing basically upside down. And the teeth are actually going to be facing the jacket. You're going to go ahead, pin that in, take it right to the machine, and you're going to stitch at about 1/8 of an inch away from the teeth. Take your time and move pretty slowly down there because you don't want to make any mistakes. And then go ahead and you're going to take it off of the machine, and you're going to do basically the exact same thing to the other side. You'll be attaching your 2 front pieces together with the zipper basically as the seam. It's kind of how it looks. And then you have the choice of actually, once you get it all stitched in, you could do a top stitch down the front of your jacket on the right side, or you can actually just press it really good. It's up to you. It just depends on what fabric you use. You make the choice. You're the designer here. You make the choice on what it is that you want to do. I used faux fur for this, so I'm not going to actually top stitch. But if you were using like a denim, I would top stitch. Now let's sew the front to the back. You can see that I've actually added my batting here. All right, now you're going to do shoulders together, and you'll notice the back neckline's higher than the front, so you got it all proper. And go ahead and get your shoulders stitched together. After you do that, you're going to add your sleeves. Pin your sleeve right in, sew it in. Then you're going to go ahead, after you get your sleeve sewn in, and you're going to pin your jacket together. You're going to at the armholes, down to the bottom of the sleeve, down to the bottom of the jacket. Take that, stitch it in, and look at there, it's starting to look like an actual jacket now. Next thing up is your hood. You have to get your hood attached to your jacket. It's coming along here, guys. And you see the 2 ends of your zipper at the top. We're getting ready to get rid of them right now. As you pin your hood in, take those 2 ends of your zipper. Once you sew, you're going to clip them. They're already going to be taken care of. You're not going to ever have to worry about your zipper coming off track because it'll all be attached to the hood. Take it to the machine, stitch it up. Once you do that, guys, here you go. There's your jacket. Your whole shell of your jacket, the outside shell of your jacket is done. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our lining and our jacket and attach them together. we are going to start at our hood. You're going to pin your hood right sides together from one end to the other end, just from the neck to the neck. Stitch around it, and then you're going to flip it inside. At that time, you're going to take your neckline and attach the two neckline seams together. That's to hold your jacket and your lining together so they're not flopping and flipping inside themselves. And then at that point, you're going to close this up. You're going to go ahead and take and turn your 1-inch seam allowance that you have on your lining down and pin it right there to the lap of your zipper. And then I actually closed mine by hand because I didn't want to do top stitching. But that's actually up to you on how you want your jacket to look. Next thing, you're going to create facings using your lining fabric and interfacing, the fusible interfacing. And they're going to be 3 3/4 inches. And they're going to have a double duty. You're going to use them for your hemline. You're also going to use them for your wrists. But they're also going to serve as the casings for your elastic. Once you sew them in, then you're going to go right ahead and feed your elastic right through your facing to give your elastic bottom and your elastic for your wrists. And that's it. That's your jacket. Your jacket is done at that point. Fairly easy. Fairly easy. Not a very hard project. Definitely will keep you warm. I hope you guys have enjoyed this tutorial. Okay, guys. As I said, thank you so much for watching. Definitely, the video moves pretty fast. So there are some sewers that are a little advanced that will be able to actually really keep up with that and be fine. But if you're not, don't worry about it because I have links that are actually down in the description box that are longer videos. It's actually 4 parts that breaks it really down into details on the sewing, the cutting, the pattern making, all of it. So definitely work at your own pace. And if this video moved too fast for you, go ahead and use the other videos. I have something for everybody. Thanks again for watching, you guys, and I'll see you soon. Enjoy your jackets.